morning, Scoop Nation. You're listening to the Morning Scoop for Thursday, November 10th. I'm your host, Ryan McClincy. On today's episode, I will be joined by the one and only NevadaBuck as he breaks down some of his most recent nuggets posted at BuckeyeScoop.com. Of course, we are going to look ahead towards Indiana as well and answer some of the main questions still surrounding this team after Northwestern and Nevada's three key things that need to happen if this team is going to get back on track towards a Big Ten championship as well as a national championship. Now, that being said, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of course, if you're looking for additional Ohio State content, you can always find it at BuckeyeScoop.com. So head on over to the website, become a member today, and check out the Ask the Insiders board so that you can keep up to date with all of the Ohio State information that you crave and join the best community of Ohio State fans in the land. Now, with that being said, let's get on to the show. All right, Nevada, welcome back. It's always good to have you. How's it going? It's been a while.
It's going great. I'm so I can't remember being this excited about a 40-point favorite game in a really, really long time. It's a very, like I said, this is a great time of year. This is the championship season in November. This is when you win titles, and I think the Buckeyes are starting with game one against Indiana, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see a lot of different things from what we saw last week as 40-point favorites. But that's all in the past. Everything is behind us. I don't want to talk about Northwestern anymore. I don't want to talk about the wind. I don't want to talk about anything myself, although I'm sure the rest of Buckeye Nation and everybody is just not going to stop talking about it on the media. So we're going to hear about it, but we don't have to talk about it, right? So Indiana's on the schedule coming up. I know you just recently put up a nugget at BuckeyeScoop.com with some kind of rumblings from practice this week, in particular with just some of what the offensive line's been doing. So wanted to just pass it over to you, give us a little teaser for what you're hearing and what we can look forward to, hopefully on Saturday.
Well, a couple of things. One, Ohio State's really made an emphasis with the offensive line about better balance and hand placement. If you look at the Buckeyes, when you break down the tapes, you see the Buckeye offensive linemen getting pushed back. When they run that outside zone. So people don't understand the difference between outside zone and inside zone. The outside zone is when they run that stretch play and the big linemen are kind of moving laterally. The offensive lineman's picking his hole. The inside zone is more of a direct power look. And so I think when people use those terms interchangeably, and they're really two different things. And I think when we run into this outside stretch, zone look, our hand placement has not been good. And it's been enabled, when you combine that with, our backs aren't particularly good at picking those particular holes. They're better at, going to a particular spot and going through it violently and, running into mass defenses. So I think, Ohio State's done a really good job of working with the kids this week on, better balance, better hand placement, keeping the defense line guys off your surface, stopping them from kind of pushing you, kind of riding you on the rail down the line. And I think it's going to pay big dividends. And I think the running game is, I think they might have found some things in the running game that they like. And I think it's going to pay some immediate dividends this weekend against Indiana.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I know you mentioned in there as well was just the kind of underrated aspect of Kevin Wilson going back up against Tom Allen in this one as well. And, not only does this team have something to prove in this offensive line and Jason Fry, and there's a lot of things I think that need to be proven this week against Indiana. And one that obviously goes, by the wayside is, I completely forgot that even happened between those two.
Yeah, that's a real thing. And, like a lot of times you talk about rivalries between coaches or rivalries between teams, and a lot of it's maybe historical or contrived or whatever it might be. But, Wilson's too much of a pro to talk about it. But the heat between him and Allen is absolutely genuine because Allen basically stabbed him in the back. I mean, he basically, sold him out. And, when there were some issues there at Indiana, he immediately kind of undercut his legs, went behind his back to people within the administration. And, for Kevin, it was a kind of a level of betrayal that he had never really seen before, and it's personal. So Indiana is absolutely personal. It will have a personal feel, and I don't think Ohio State's going to call off the Dogs. That's why whenever we talk about the betting lines on the games, I'm picking Ohio State this week because I don't think they're going to call them off. I think they're going to. I think they're going to go hard at Indiana, and the heat between Wilson and Allen is real and palpable, and you will see it on display this weekend when they play.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be hard not to call off the Dogs for too long. I think just with some of these numbers that we're looking at here. But I agree. I think again, this team has a lot to show and a lot to prove, and no better team necessarily to go up against than an Indiana team that is not very good. So it's a good transition here. We're going to look at Indiana by the numbers. All right. So the numbers themselves here, as we've already said, Indiana is not very good, but offensively speaking, scoring offense number 100, Ohio State's number one. Rushing offense 129, Ohio State sitting at 32nd. Passing offense 55th, Ohio State 19th, and total offense 90th for Indiana, 14th for Ohio State. Defensively, again, not very good. 114th in scoring defense, Ohio State sitting at 8th. Rushing defense is 83rd in the country, Ohio State 13th. Passing defense 107th, Ohio State 7th. And total defense 103rd to Ohio State 6th. Right now to date, Indiana has given up 32.2 points per game to their opponents and 423.8 yards per game, while scoring 23.3 and 329 yards per game. As far as team leaders go, passing, Connor Baziak, 2,099 yards on the season, 54.9% completion, and a 12-9 touchdown to interception ratio. And these are two stats that I thought were really interesting, and I don't think I've ever seen these before, but 40 rush attempts for negative 145 yards for their quarterback. And he has been sacked 23 times for negative 195 yards, which obviously contributes to the rushing total there, but it just insane negative rushing from the quarterback and negative plays from this offense as well. Rushing wise, Sean Shivers, 106 attempts for 399 yards on the season, 3.8 average, 4 touchdowns. And then right behind him is Josh Henderson, who actually leads the team in total scrimmage yards, 518, with 6 touchdowns, 3 through the air and 3 on the ground. And then receiving, Cam Camper was their leading receiver for the season. He is out with an ACL injury. So in his place, you have Emery Simmons, 32 receptions, 335 yards, 10.5 average, and 1 touchdown on the season. And just for bonuses, the leading sack getter on this defense for Indiana is a name that Buckeye fans, I'm sure, remember, Dasan McCullough. He has 4 on the season. So a couple of other storylines to come into play as well, but we'll see how they stack up.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, Indiana has, played some interesting games. They've played above their rankings a few times. I think they're coming in at the right time for Ohio State. Ohio State's got to get right. Indiana is a team to get right against. And we all know that Ohio State's going to be able to dictate what they want to do. But I think you can look for 3 things specifically this weekend from Ohio State. I think you can look for an increased efficiency in the running game and kind of a more direct running attack. I think that you can look for increased use or continued use of quarterback constraint, as well as reverse action, pulling guards, and other kind of counters to kind of stop defenses from massing. And third thing I think you can look for offensively is I think you can look for some passes to the running backs. I think that's something that they want to activate. I think this is a good week for them to work on it. I know they've been working on it every week in practice, and I think this is the week they kind of roll it out, give Michigan one more look to have to prepare for in anticipation of that big showdown here in 3 weeks. So I think we got some really good things to look for on offense, and it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be absolutely a fun game. It's one of those games you're going to want to watch to the end, because I think Ohio State's going to be trying some things and really working to perfect some things and trying to fine tune some things while also impressing the college football committee. So it's going to be a fun one.
I'm looking forward to the game. looking forward to hopefully proving you right and taking the -40 as well.
Yeah, it's a big number, but I've had a really good handle on this Ohio State team all year, and so it's not like I'm just like every week going, oh,
Right,
safe like I
right.
said, I've been knowing when Ohio State might be a little down when they're working on some things, and I've had them pretty much nailed every single week. I'm saying this week, big effort from Ohio State. I'm looking for a big number, a big cover, and I think Ohio State's going to be very, very impressive on Saturday, and that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is on that one. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first. And that's all we got here for today. So Nevada, thank you again so much for your time and jumping on here and giving us some of those insights. Always appreciate it and looking forward to having you back.
Thanks so much, Ron. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.